Most people think a war between India and Pakistan would stay overseas, but your pantry says otherwise. If conflict breaks out, it won't be fighter jets that hit you first. It'll be the silent disappearance of products you buy every week. From rice to spices, teas to lentils, the U.S. grocery market is deeply tied to South Asia. And once trade halts, shelves will start thinning overnight. It won't be a stampede, it'll be a slow fade, until one day, it's just gone. These 9 items will vanish first, and if you're not ahead of it, you'll be left behind. We're not here to scare you, we're here to keep you ahead. If India and Pakistan go to war, it's not just a geopolitical crisis, it's a supply chain crisis. The U.S. imports more from South Asia than most people realize, and certain grocery items will be among the first to disappear. This isn't theory, it's logistics. If trade routes lock up, you'll see the effects in your cart before you hear it on the news. These are the 9 items that will vanish first, and why smart shoppers are moving now, not later. Let's get into the list. Number 1, long grain rice. If there's one product that will fly off U.S. shelves the moment India and Pakistan enter a conflict, it's long grain rice. This isn't just a specialty grain, it's a global staple, and the U.S. is heavily reliant on imports from both countries to meet demand. India alone supplies over 70% of the world's long grain rice, and Pakistan fills much of the rest. If exports are disrupted due to port closures, fuel rationing, or government embargoes, the supply will dry up almost instantly. And this isn't limited to ethnic grocery stores. Long grain rice is a top choice for health-conscious shoppers, home cooks, and bulk buyers across mainstream retailers. As of May 2025, prices are already inching upward. A 10 LLB bag that once sold for $12 now averages 16 to 18s, and specialty varieties like aged or organic long grain rice are becoming harder to restock. In some metro areas, buyers are already reporting 1 or 2 bag limits in Indian and Pakistani grocery stores. Why does this matter? Long grain rice is not only flavorful, it's lower on the glycemic index, easy to store long-term, and a go-to base for high-protein, low-cost meals. For many families, especially in immigrant communities, it's not a luxury. It's a daily staple, and once the supply is squeezed, panic buying will follow. We saw it in 2020 with flour and toilet paper. In 2025, it might be rice. Smart shoppers aren't waiting for the alert, they're grabbing what they can now. If you eat rice even occasionally, a few extra bags could save you weeks of frustration and inflation. Don't wait until your store is out. If long grain rice is part of your pantry, secure it now, because once the conflict hits, it'll vanish fast. Number 2, black tea. If you drink tea every morning, listen up, because black tea, especially from India, is about to become a high-risk item in the event of war. India is the second largest tea producer in the world, and the U.S. is a major importer. A conflict between India and Pakistan won't just affect exports, it will stall shipping routes, strain production, and cut off a massive portion of the global supply. And this isn't just about chai drinkers. Black tea is the base for English breakfast, Earl Grey, iced tea blends, and nearly every major grocery store brand, from Lipton to Tetley. Much of what's sold in the U.S. under American names is actually grown in Assam, Darjeeling, or other Indian tea-growing regions. If that pipeline shuts down, expect to see shelves clear out within weeks, especially for larger boxes and loose-leaf varieties. As of May 2025, importers are already tightening orders. Prices have jumped 10 to 15% over the past 6 months, and bulk tea bags are getting harder to source. Specialty blends are disappearing first, but even basic black tea boxes are showing longer restock delays on retail platforms and wholesalers. For millions of Americans, tea isn't just a comfort, it's a daily necessity. In emergencies, routines, like a morning cup of tea can help preserve mental clarity and morale. But once supply dips, the demand will spike fast, especially among those who use tea not just for drinking, but for medicinal purposes, home remedies, and stress relief. If black tea is part of your daily rhythm, it's time to stock a few extra boxes now. Tea stores well, especially when kept sealed in a cool, dry place. A 100-count box of tea bags takes up almost no space and can easily last 1 to 2 years unopened. It's simple math. No imports, no tea. Grab your supply while it's still on the shelf, because the next shipment may never make it out of port. Number 3, spices. Spices don't take up much space, but they play a massive role in our kitchens, and a quiet war in South Asia could wipe them from U.S. shelves almost overnight. India is the world's largest exporter of spices, and Pakistan plays a supporting role. Between them, they supply everything from turmeric and cumin to cardamom, chili powder, coriander, and mustard seeds, ingredients used in everything from global cuisine to American comfort food. Most U.S. consumers don't think twice about where that little bottle of turmeric or curry powder comes from, but if the second shipping halts or air freight slows due to conflict, prices will spike and stock will vanish, especially in bulk. Formats and high-quality brands. As of May 2025, importers have already raised prices quietly. Turmeric, for example, has gone up 25% since late 2024, and cinnamon and black pepper are following close behind. Major brands are repackaging smaller quantities to stretch inventory, and specialty grocers are limiting high-demand spices to 1 or 2 per customer. Here's why this matters. In a food crisis, morale matters, and spices are flavor. When you're eating more canned goods, grains, or shelf-stable proteins, your palate will wear out fast. A pinch of cumin, a dash of red chili, or a hint of garam masala can transform a bland survival meal into something actually satisfying. Plus, many spices, especially turmeric, clove, and black pepper, have medicinal properties. They're used in teas, tonics, and natural remedies for inflammation, digestion, and immune support. So this is about more than taste. It's about self-care during stress. Stocking up is easy. Most ground spices store well for 2 to 3 years if sealed tightly and kept away from light and moisture. Whole spices last even longer. Don't wait for a price shock. This is one of the cheapest, highest-impact items you can prep today. If war breaks out, spice exports won't just slow, they'll stop. And once that happens, it's not the main courses you'll miss first, it's the flavor. Number 4, lentils. Lentils have always flown under the radar in the U.S. until they're gone. And if India and Pakistan go to war, lentils could be one of the first dry goods to vanish from shelves without much warning. Here's why. India is the world's largest consumer and a major exporter of lentils, while Pakistan also contributes to the regional trade flow of pulses, including red lentils, yellow lentils, and red lentils. Though the U.S. grows some of its own lentils, primarily in states like Montana and North Dakota, it still imports heavily to meet domestic demand, especially for split and polished varieties that aren't produced locally in bulk. As of May 2025, prices for red lentils have jumped 15 to 20%, and supply chain reports show delays in overseas shipments of popular South Asian varieties. Ethnic stores are feeling it first, with fewer restocks and shorter supplies on shelf-stable bags that used to be sold in bulk. Why does this matter? Because lentils are one of the cheapest, longest-lasting, and most nutritious proteins you can store. They cook fast, don't require refrigeration, and have a shelf life of up to 30 years when sealed properly. In survival scenarios, that's gold. And when meat becomes scarce or expensive, people turn to lentils fast. They're high in fiber, iron, and plant-based protein, making them a crucial fallback when diets tighten. Stocking up now is easy and affordable. A 2 lb bag stores compactly and can stretch across dozens of meals. Add them to soups, stews, rice, or canned veggies to create high-calorie, high-nutrition meals on a budget. Once exports stop, lentils won't just rise in price, they'll vanish. Grab your supply now while they're still sitting quietly on the lower shelf. Number 5. Garbanzo beans. You may think of chickpeas as a Mediterranean or Middle Eastern ingredient, but here's the twist. India is the largest producer and exporter of chickpeas in the world, and if war breaks out between India and Pakistan, you can expect these humble legumes to vanish from U.S. shelves almost instantly. Chickpeas are the backbone of everything from hummus to falafel, but also serve as a critical shelf-stable protein in many vegetarian and plant-based diets. They're loaded with fiber, iron, and 15 grams of protein per cup, and they store extremely well, whether canned or dry. As of May 2025, global chickpea supplies are already under stress. Crop shortfalls in India, combined with logistical bottlenecks and climate-related issues in Australia and Turkey, have made the global market tight. That's led to a 20–30% price increase in bulk dried chickpeas and a noticeable decrease in shelf stock for both canned and dry formats. In the U.S., chickpeas are often packaged by American brands, but much of the raw product is imported, processed, and repackaged domestically. So even if the label says "Made in the USA," it doesn't mean the beans were grown here. If conflict disrupts trade routes, the impact will be felt almost immediately. Canned chickpeas will go first. Easy to cook, ready to eat, and perfect for quick meals. Then the dried bags will follow as people begin to pivot to long-term food storage. Chickpeas also play a major role in gluten-free and vegan diets, making them high demand when meat or wheat-based products are harder to come by, and they're used in chickpea flour, besan, which is a core ingredient in South Asian and Mediterranean cooking. Shelf life? Outstanding. Dried chickpeas last up to 10 years when stored in mylar or airtight containers. Canned varieties are good for 2 to 5 years. Don't underestimate this quiet protein. Once the flow stops, chickpeas won't be a diet option. They'll be a hot commodity. Stock up before the shelf goes bare. Number 6, cardamom. Cardamom isn't just a flavor, it's a currency. Known as the queen of spices, this fragrant seed is one of the most expensive spices per ounce and is heavily tied to Indian and Guatemalan exports. But here's the catch. India is a top global consumer and a significant producer, and if conflict erupts with Pakistan, the global balance of cardamom supply could collapse almost overnight. Most Americans associate cardamom with chai or holiday baking, but it's used far more widely in spice blends, desserts, specialty coffees, and even natural medicines. And because it's so light and compact, most stores don't carry large volumes. That means when the supply chain gets even slightly disrupted, you feel it fast. As of May 2025, prices have already begun climbing. A 2 Oz jar that used to sell for $7-8 now averages $12 or more, and ground cardamom is even harder to find in bulk without paying a premium. Ethnic grocers are reporting erratic restocking schedules, especially for green cardamom pods, which are considered the most aromatic and sought-after variety. The issue isn't just conflict, it's about trade logistics. Cardamom grows in specific humid climates and isn't easily replicated or mass-produced elsewhere. If shipping lanes close, export bans are put in place, or labor shortages hit spice growing regions, the U.S. supply will dry up fast. Cardamom also has a strong shelf life. When stored whole and in airtight containers, it can last 2 to 3 years while retaining its potency. Ground cardamom doesn't keep as long but still remains usable for 12-18 months if kept cool and dry. For preppers and food-savvy households, this isn't just about taste. Cardamom is used in digestive remedies, teas, and natural cold treatments, especially in holistic and traditional medicine. Losing access to it means more than losing flavor. It's losing function. It only takes one shipping delay to make this premium spice disappear. Stock up now, because when the crisis hits, cardamom will be one of the first luxury goods to vanish. Number 7. Mustard seeds. Mustard seeds may not seem critical until they're gone. Used in everything from pickles to stir-fries, spice rubs to salad dressings, mustard seeds are a silent staple in kitchens worldwide. And here's the problem. India is one of the largest producers and exporters of mustard seeds, and Pakistan contributes significantly to the regional output. A conflict between the two could send shockwaves through global supply chains. These tiny seeds are used whole, ground, or pressed into mustard oil. They're a foundational ingredient in South Asian cooking and a core component in spice blends, condiments, and even some Western prepared foods. Most consumers don't realize that mustard isn't just a flavor. It's a link in the chain for both home cooks and food manufacturers. As of May 2025, mustard seed prices have climbed 20 to 30%, and importers are reporting delays and thinning supply, particularly for yellow and brown varieties. U.S. specialty stores and ethnic markets are beginning to limit bulk purchases, and some have already run out of larger bags. Why does it matter? Because mustard seeds aren't just a culinary accessory, they're also used in food preservation, oil production, and as a natural antimicrobial agent in pickling and fermenting. When commercial supplies dry up, even big brands that use mustard in sauces and dressings will feel the pinch. Shelf life is excellent. Whole mustard seeds can last up to 4 years when stored in airtight containers, away from heat and light. That makes them an ideal candidate for long-term storage. Ground mustard has a shorter shelf life but can still keep its potency for 12 to 18 months. If you're a fan of bold flavors, fermentation, or even basic pantry preparedness, mustard seeds deserve a place on your priority list. Don't wait for the price jump to become a supply gap. If mustard seeds are in your rotation or part of the foods you love, Grab them now before conflict makes them scarce. Number 8. Jaggery. You may not see it in every American kitchen, but jaggery is a staple across South Asian households, and its disappearance will be felt far beyond cultural lines if conflict breaks out. Jaggery is a traditional, unrefined sweetener, made from sugarcane or palm sap. It's used in everything from desserts to teas, sauces, and Ayurvedic remedies, and India is the world's largest producer and exporter of it. Jaggery isn't just a regional delicacy, it's an important sugar alternative for those avoiding heavily processed sweeteners. It's packed with trace minerals, iron, and antioxidants, making it popular among health-conscious buyers. And with more people turning to natural foods and holistic wellness, jaggery has quietly gained ground in mainstream markets. As of May 2025, jaggery imports are already showing signs of strain. Specialty grocers and Indian supermarkets report fewer shipments, and rising prices up 25% over the past 12 months. With global demand growing and limited regions producing high-quality jaggery, any disruption from a war between India and Pakistan could cause this product to vanish entirely from U.S. shelves. Why does it matter? Because jaggery is also used as a base ingredient in many packaged foods and cultural staples like chutneys, energy bars, herbal teas, and traditional medicine. Its disappearance would affect not only ethnic cooking but also parts of the health food and natural product industries. Jaggery has a solid shelf life, typically 12-18 months if stored in a cool, dry place. Blocks and powder versions both. Store well, making it a great addition to a prepper's pantry, not just as a sweetener but also as a barter item with cultural value. If it's something you or your community uses regularly, or if you're looking for alternatives to white sugar, it's worth grabbing now. It's one of those niche items that disappears quietly but won't come back quickly. Jaggery may be humble, but once war disrupts exports, this sweet block will become a rare find. Stock it now while it's still sitting on the lower shelf. Number 9. Instant noodles. Instant noodles might seem like a cheap, bottom-shelf afterthought, but when supply chains crack, they vanish faster than anything else. In the event of a war between India and Pakistan, instant noodles will be among the first processed foods to get wiped out, especially the South Asian brands and flavors that dominate ethnic aisles and budget meals across the U.S. Here's the connection. India and Pakistan are both major producers and exporters of wheat, flour, spice blends, and dehydrated vegetables, key ingredients in instant noodle manufacturing. Brands like Maggi, Nestle India, YY, and other South Asian staples rely heavily on domestic production before being exported globally, including to the U.S. If conflict breaks out, factories will slow or stop, export lanes will close, and ingredient shortages will back up supply chains, even for American-made noodles that depend on spice packets sourced abroad. As of May 2025, there are already signs of stress. Prices on South Asian instant noodle brands have risen 10 to 15%, and some international grocery chains have limited restocks or imposed purchase limits. Online listings for bulk packs are climbing, and rural stores report longer lead times between deliveries. The threat here is twofold. Instant noodles aren't just a snack. They're shelf-stable comfort food with long storage life, fast prep, and strong emotional value during stressful times. When the economy tightens or natural disasters strike, these packets become a survival staple in homes, dorm rooms, and bug-out bags alike. Most varieties last 12-24 months unopened, making them ideal for pantry rotation. They require minimal water, little to no fuel, and can be eaten straight in extreme emergencies. Once a conflict affects global wheat and spice flow, expect shelves to clear quickly, not just in ethnic stores but in mainstream grocers as well. If they're part of your rotation, or even just your backup plan, grab your favorites now, because when war hits the supply line, these cheap packets will suddenly become hard to find, and everyone will want them. If war breaks out between India and Pakistan, most people will watch the headlines, not the shelves. But smart preppers know better. The first signs of global disruption aren't on the front page, they're in your grocery store. And these 9 items? They'll be the first to vanish. This isn't about panic, it's about pattern recognition. Trade routes will close, imports will halt, and products most Americans don't even realize come from South Asia will quietly disappear. You've seen the list. Now it's time to act. Start simple, check your pantry, see what's already low. Then make your move, because once the masses catch on, it's already too late. Drop a comment below. Which of these surprised you the most? Are you already seeing gaps in your area? And tell us, what city or country are you watching from? You might find other smart preppers near you, like subscribe and hit the bell, because we're tracking every shift in the global supply chain, and you'll want to know what's next before it disappears. Stay sharp, stay ready, stay ahead.